Times change, markets evolve, and sometimes companies who rule the roost get a wheel stuck in a ditch and never recover. Some of the brands who are no longer with us are gladly forgotten, while others left us wonderful memories of motoring days gone by. Join us as we look at some of the best cars built by car makers no longer around. 1. AMC Eagle 1980. This was a family car on stilts which relied on serious four-wheel drive hardware and ample ground clearance to tackle tough trails and knee-deep snow. In many ways, the Eagle was the modern crossover's predecessor. Have you noticed the rising popularity of SUV coupes? AMP did it first with the Eagle SX4, and it had two doors like a proper coupe should. So what happened to AMC? The company was bought by France's Renault in 1979, but AMC's range of mostly smaller cars suffered as fuel became relatively cheaper during the 1980s. Renault CEO Georges Best, who championed AMC, was murdered in 1986 by terrorists, and his successors lost interest and sold the firm to Chrysler in 1987 when the AMC badge came to an end. 2. Amphicar, Model 7701961. Launched in 1961, the Amphicar Model 770 was a boat car hybrid with no direct rivals. Its rear-mounted, Triumph-sourced four-cylinder engine spun either the back wheels or a pair of plastic propellers visible beneath the rear bumper, while the front wheels steered it regardless of whether it was traveling on land or on water. It was surprisingly versatile and, thankfully, completely watertight. Most were sold in the United States, including one to President Lyndon Johnson, who used to pretend to unsuspecting visitors that his brakes had failed as he drove into a lake at his ranch in Texas. So what happened to Amphicar? The niche the Model 770 landed in was too small to keep Amphicar financially afloat. Production ended in 1967 after about 4,000 units were built in West Germany by a company owned by the Quandt family, better known for their large stake in BMW. Amphicar chose not to stay in the car industry after it axed the Model 770. To date, no other company has offered a series-produced amphibious passenger car. 3. Austin Healey 3000-1959. When it made its debut in 1959, the Austin Healey 3000 stood out with a 3.0-liter engine and front disc brakes. The big Healey was a force to be reckoned with in European rallying events, but convertible-hungry buyers in North America scooped up most of the production run. It was one of the greatest British sports cars of its era, and it was continuously updated throughout the 1960s. So what happened to Austin Healey? The deal between Austin and Healey ended in 1972 after 20 years. There have been talks of a revival since, including under BMW's ownership of Austin's successor company Rover, but nothing has appeared. The name itself is now owned by China's SAIC. 4. Autobianchi, a 112 Abarth 1971. When Volkswagen takes credit for pioneering the hot hatchback, it overlooks the Autobianchi a 112 Abarth. Admittedly, the 112 was easy to miss due to its small dimensions. It was introduced in September of 1971, before anyone knew what a Golf was, as a hotter version of Autobianchi's successful small car. Early models used a 58-horsepower four-cylinder engine, though power climbed to 7 OBHP later in the production run. So what happened to Autobianchi? The company was a joint venture between bicycle maker Bianchi, Pirelli, and Fiat. Fiat took full control in 1968, and then folded the operation into Lancia. The badge disappeared in 1995. 5. Auto Union 1000 SP 1957. Visually, there was little to suggest the Auto Union 1000 SP was related to the standard 1000. And yet, the SP shared its basic two-stroke, three-cylinder engine with the 1000, though there were some model-specific differences. Stuttgart-based coachbuilder Bohr made about 5,000 units of the 1000 SP between 1958 and 1965. It also built around 1640 examples of a 1000 ESPA-based convertible starting in 1961. So what happened to Auto Union? Auto Union merged with NSU in 1969, and both were absorbed by Volkswagen shortly after. Audi was born from the merger. While both brands are dormant today, Audi still builds cars like the A6 in Neckarsulm, where NSU was based, and Volkswagen manufactures cars in Zwickau, where Auto Union traces some of its roots to and where the Trabant was made. 6. Daimler, SP250 Dart 1959. Once a supplier of cars to royalty, Daimler grew out of the German company, but soon built its own models. The SP250's engine had an interesting configuration. While being only a 2.5-liter, it was a V8, elegant but interesting to look at. It was a spirited drive, good for 120 miles per hour, and determinedly different from its stately predecessors. It was famously used to police speeds on Britain's first motorway, the M1. So what happened to Daimler? The company was sold to Jaguar in 1960, its cars eventually becoming badge-engineered Jaguar derivatives. The brand disappeared in 2007, though Jaguar still has the right to use the name in many markets, though given Daimler is now also the name of the heavy trucks arm of Mercedes-Benz, it's complicated. This seems unlikely. 7. DeSoto, Model K 1928. Created by Chrysler in 1928, DeSoto put its rivals on notice when it released its first car, the Model K, for the 1929 model year. It sold 81,065 units of the model during its first 12 months on the market, a record that remained unbroken for several decades. The Model K was cheaper than a comparable Chrysler, fitted with a 6-cylinder engine, and offered in a number of body styles, including a roadster. So what happened to DeSoto? DeSoto's early success quickly faded. Chrysler also purchased Dodge in 1928, and the two brands often overlapped. Both were positioned below Chrysler as mass-market brands. Its evolution followed the rest of the Chrysler portfolios, so it received the new Firedome V8 in 1952 and the forward-look design language in 1955. Sales collapsed in 1958, partly due to the same recession that helped end Edsel, and Chrysler closed DeSoto in 1961. 8. De Tomaso, Pantera 1971. Alejandro de Tomaso, 1928 to 2003, designed a breathtakingly gorgeous car and bought a V8 from Ford to stuff behind the seats. America's appetite for performance cars ensured a steady cash flow for De Tomaso in spite of the Pantera's quality issues. Unreliability caused Elvis Presley to shoot his Pantera on numerous occasions, presumably as a punishment. It's not known if this helped. Ford stopped importing the car to the U.S. in 1975, but production carried on for other markets, including Europe, until 1992. So what happened to De Tomaso? De Tomaso merged with Maserati in 1975, and that brand was always more prolific. But De Tomaso sales carried on in small numbers until 2004 when the firm died. The trademark was sold on, and a De Tomaso concept car appeared at the 2011 Geneva Motor Show, but nothing's been heard since.
9. Eagle, Talon 1989. Chrysler founded Eagle in 1988 to continue AMC, which left the scene that same year. Its range consisted largely of average, unexciting cars that suffered from a complete lack of image. The only exception was the Talon, which was closely related to the Mitsubishi Eclipse. Released in 1989 as a 1990 model, it was available with all-wheel drive and a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, rated at 192 bp. So what happened to Eagle? In hindsight, there was no space in Chrysler for an obscure brand like Eagle, and not enough interest or money to give it a fighting chance. Models left the range one by one during the 1990s, and the Eagle name disappeared in 1998. Stellantis owns the name today. The factory in Normal, Illinois, that manufactured the Talon now belongs to electric pickup truck maker Rivian. 10. Facel Vega, Excellence 1958. Facel Vega was a brand favored by the world's celebrities to build the Excellence to take the fight directly to Rolls-Royce and the German brands. From its stately design with reverse-facing rear doors to its hand-built interior, the Excellence easily lived up to its name. It served as the flagship for the brand and for France's entire automotive industry. So, what happened to Facel Vega? Competition from larger luxury car rivals like Mercedes-Benz did the company no favors, and it closed down in 1964. It remains a mystery why France, home to world-beating luxury brands like Louis Vuitton and Chanel, has never created a successful luxury car brand in recent decades. And that brings us to the end of today's journey through some of the best cars from companies that sadly no longer exist. These machines may have been left behind by time, but their legacy still lives on in the automotive world and in the hearts of true car enthusiasts. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing car stories like this. Let me know in the comments, which of these cars was your favorite? Or is there a forgotten brand you think deserves more attention? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.